Isaiah chapter 52. Isaiah 52. We'll start reading just the first two verses. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come in to thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Awake, awake, surely this suggests or implies that we are in a condition of sleep, a state of sleep, of spiritual sleep. This is not an appointed time of awaking from a appointed time of rest. You know, like sunrise to sunset when you're resting, sleep, and hey, time to get up now. No, this is awake, but you have a job to do, and they're asleep. It's this is their time where they're supposed to be awake in the Lord, working, and be consciously serving. And they're in a state of insensibility, unconsciousness, unaware of the present or what's going on around them, unaware of God's presence, unaware of God's nearness, unaware of God's help, etc. Their eyes are shut tight. They're unable to see or perceive. It's kind of like I can use my job as working on the truck. When I was younger, the boss would say, "Hey, wake up! What are you doing? You know, you got your head in the sand, just asleep, just totally oblivious to what needs to be done." Getting my even now, we're training people. It's like people get their eyes, their thoughts, their whole thing on something other than, as if they're asleep. We see here, the call is to awaken. They're tuned out, no reception. It's a sad, unhappy, sorrowful condition. Secondly, we see in verse 2, shake thyself from the dust. Another type or state of uncleanness. Shake thyself from the dust. The dust is dirty. It's unclean. The world is unclean and dusty. It gathers on all of us. It gets on us. We live in the world. It gets on us. The only one it didn't get on was Jesus Christ. But we live in this world and it settles on us. And shake the self from the dust. We can get spotted. Dust. Even we get drowsy at times. Spiritually drowsy. And the dust of this world accumulates quickly if we don't shake the dust from us. Dust impairs our vision. It distorts the light. When you're asleep, if you're in darkness, we are not children of the darkness, we are children of the light. And we're now full of dust, and getting dusty, it distorts that light and impairs our vision. Where I'm working at, the parking garage, it's very, very dusty for the last several months. I'll wash the car on the way home, go there the next day, and by the end of the day, it is thick, the dust. There's guys that haven't washed their car in the whole time. It's horrible. I see out the side windows of the bed, you can see where the wipers. There's a U-Haul rental pickup that's been sitting in there for the last couple weeks. You can barely see U-Haul. The dust just keeps accumulating if it's not shaken off. It's just kind of give a visual of how dirty you can get being asleep. So shake thyself from the dust. That's again a sad and a sorrowful condition if we shake not thyself from the dust. And lastly, thirdly, we see the end of that verse. It says here to loose thyself from the bands of thy neck. Loose thyself, implying a state of bondage or captivity here. But we notice it says loose thyself. Bonds are mostly, implies that we're self-made. We've been made free of sin and forgiven, and yet we get ourselves bound and tied down at times with sin and with worldliness. And loose thyself from these bonds. These bonds are we put on ourselves, and when we let worldliness in. And again, I was picturing ourselves when being told to loose thyself as if we're sitting here now in these chairs. Say we just take strips of clothing or straps or just tie our legs, each of us, to the legs of the chair. But we did it. And now he says, loose thyself. You can't sit there and say, oh, I can't. God says, he gives an instruction, loose that. Loose, you try and move it around. Well, I can't, I'm hindered. I can't do that. Oh, I can't loose my bonds. Yes, you can. Most of the times we put them there ourselves. Loose them. It's not a suggestion. Read it again. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. So, with the worldliness, we put ourselves in these bonds and these bonds, and not just physical, not just with material things, but there's so much more. There's the worldly ease, the worldly ungodly pleasures and selfishness, pride, fear of man, worrying. And all this points to our focus is not on God. Our vision is not God. It's a sad, unhappy, sorrowful condition. It's a dangerous condition to lose that sight of God and lose sight of right and wrong. So heed the call of God. Heed this exhortation. Awake, awake. Shake thyself from the dust and loose thyself from the bands of thy neck. And finish with Romans 13:11. If you'd like to turn there, read the verse. Romans 13:11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now